14 for July 14th, and we need a roll call. Sue?
Board Member Yankovic,
Yes.
Board Member Reister,
Here.
Board Member Doyle, Board Member Pasquale,
Here.
Board Member Larkin will be absent today. Board Member Lonick,
Here.
Board Member McClure,
Here.
Board Member Springer,
Here.
and Chair Reagan.
Here. Need a motion to approve Mike's absence.
So moved.
Dean, is there a second?
Second.
Cliff, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, Cliff?
Second.
Second by April. Any discussion or changes? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And approval of the minutes from the previous meeting from June 9th.
So moved. Second.
Motion by, was that Dave?
Yes.
Okay, second? Second. Karen?
Rita.
Rita.
Don't call me Karen.
Rita?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion or changes to the minutes? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, treasurer's report, Sue?
Okay, current balance is $584,899. I have not collected any TIPA yet this summer, it's awful early. And I also wanted to mention, in the accounts payable, the payment to non-city for $4,000. Those were for the radar signs, so those have been paid. And Epic Excavating, $6,868 was for the downtown sidewalks.
I'll make a motion, we accept treasurer's report as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Cliff, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? And moving on to public comments for items not on the agenda. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, moving on to old business. Downtown development plan, any update on that, Dave?
No.
South Monroe parking lot, update on that?
I have an update on the streetlights. I spoke with the electrician just this morning, and we are still working on getting a light selected. We're trying to get them to pick a light that we have in stock, so similar to our Riverwalk lights, something that's not different from what we already carry in our back stocks. We don't want to carry 3 different type of poles in our back stock. So those lights are going to be at least 12 weeks out, so we're looking at probably October before we get lights installed in the parking lot. I just want to make the board aware of that. We are still working diligently on getting that light selected and holding that contractor responsible for getting those in too.
Right.
And the dumpster's almost ready. I think they're getting the doors on shortly, so. Okay. Questions?
How do you like it? Parking lot.
Very nice.
We have the best looking dumpster.
Yeah, we do. That's great.
Those stones on there, it looks really nice.
The only complaint we have,
Uh-oh.
which is from our clients too, is the only one walkway. There's like, I don't even want to call it grass, it's weeds right now in the straw, but there's only that one walkway, and half the time when the trucks are in there unloading, they pull up to that walkway and block it.
Okay.
So we should have had like walkways between each business.
A very, very easy fix. We can pour that with our own forces, and we'll just put a couple more crosswalks through there.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Yeah, there's still some items in there that we want to, I'll just step up there for a minute, Greg, sorry. There's still some items we want to have fixed too, because I don't know if anybody's noticed, there's a utility vault. It's kind of sticking up a little high, so we're going to ask them to move that over as well. And then we can drop those crosswalks in pretty easy also. So, not a big deal. And then, of course, because we want to have great water, of course, rain, so we'll probably end up reseeding a good portion of that this fall as well.
Yeah, because right now it's just weeds.
It's weak, it looks bad, I know it looks bad, and we can hold them to the fire a little bit and guarantee growth on the grass, but ultimately, we're probably gonna have to come in and reseed it anyway, just like we did little bits of manure here too.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
any
Thanks,
other-
Rich.
Anybody else?
I would like to comment on the parking lot. I'd like to thank the DDA for their help in accomplishing what was accomplished there. We have a beautiful parking lot, and I know it was touch and go right down to the last minute, well, whether we would get the full parking lot or just a partial, we did get the full. And I'd like to thank the DDA for that. I am a little critical of how some things were done there. It was an out-of-the-area contractor that was supervised by Williams and Works, who is a great company, but it wasn't executed very well. The supervision wasn't done very well. The storm sewer lines that came through, I watched those guys, and it's a cement 16-inch tile. They took a saw, cut a square hole, and stubbed a pipe down inside it with no support. And I questioned Dave Austin about that, and he said, well, yeah, it shows in the specs there should be a Y in there with fern cones. We'll make them do that. So they dug it back up, and they didn't do that. They did something different. And I said, did you put the Ys in? They said, yeah. And I said, did anybody watch them? They screwed it up the first time. They didn't watch them do it the second time. I realize you can't watch everything. But Sue Pixley's deck on the back of Salon 206, they completely undermined the posts at the end of that. And who knows how that was supported. It looks crooked now. But it's tough to keep an eye. And people that aren't from Lowell don't care as much as local people do, and I know you're not going to get local contractors, but the fire protection, I asked that be added because I wanted to get that into my building. And I talked to the contractor. I put a sleeve out that they said they could come right up to that, and I'd get the fire protection in my building. I asked that I wanted to run larger water services in than the 1 inch that they had there. I said, I will provide the materials. I said, should I be here tomorrow at 8 o'clock or sooner? They said, nope, tomorrow at 8 o'clock is fine. They went ahead and put 1 inch services right up to the building and buried everything. Said, oh, we thought you just meant the last 5 feet. And it was just not very cooperative. I was the only guy that wanted fire protection, and I have 2 buildings there, 210 and 212 East Main, and it was supposed to be between every 2 buildings. Because of the city assuming that was 1 building instead of 2, I don't have water service where I can hook into it. Now it's 25 feet away. They were going to leave things open. The tax guy, Doug Folsom, he had a service stub to the back of his building because previously his service came in through the Hearthstone building on the end, and he was going to hook that up on Monday. On Friday, they buried it all in, and it just really was slam, bam, get it done, and no regard for local businesses. And Williams and Works is a great company. Dave Austin is just a top-notch guy, and I don't mean to badmouth them, but it's unfortunate. We have a beautiful parking lot, but there's some things I question. We don't know how they did it. It just wasn't very closely supervised, and some things that were not done right, I don't think got corrected, but we'll find out down the road. Thanks for all your help on that.
And thank you, Greg, for all your work and overseeing stuff. I mean, a plumber, you're going to see stuff like that. You're going to want to catch those things. So, I don't know, anything we can do for Williams and Works or what whole payment or something like that. I don't know, Greg, if you had to dig that stuff back up that they had buried then?
Well, I wasn't able to. I had plans to do things for future, but
it just makes it harder down the road to do that. Yeah.
I thought part of the reason we did this was so there would be fire suppression, size, water available to the whole block.
There are 3 stubs,
Okay.
and they assumed there were 6 buildings, but there's actually 7 because I own 2.
Okay.
So there is a 6-inch stub that comes up within about 10 feet of every building.
Oh, okay.
And my hope was, I actually tunneled out from the basement all the way out to the alley, where I was ready to slide it out and get it hooked up and be done. And it ended up 25 feet away over between my building and the hair salon next door. And I did check with an engineer because to make sure that that 6-inch main would service my 2 buildings and the hair salon, and it does. So we have accomplished it, but why do we want to go back and rip up this brand new stuff that we got in? If they could have, Doug Folsom is still working through somebody else's building for water on 1 service. It was an opportunity to correct things, and they should have just been a little more cooperative with the local building owners, is my opinion. But
I just want to add to that We hired the contractor with a very specific scope of work, and they were working on that scope of work. Other things like private property owners wanted to have certain things done for themselves was outside of that scope. And so they were, of course, trying to meet a deadline. The private property owners also trying to work with them. We were pushing them to continue to reach their deadline, stay within scope of work, and stay within budget. So some of that was just really the relationship between the private property owner and the contractor. And, you know, they're trying to meet our needs, of course, but trying to accommodate owners too. So I can completely understand what Greg is saying.
And in hindsight, you know, we did finish what needed to be done legally at the last minute before they moved out of Dodge, you know, too, so.
We were under the gun too.
Yeah, and so.
With all the property acquisition issues that were involved, and then you had a contractor that was.
Yeah, they were almost ready to move the equipment out and come back in the fall, so.
Right, yeah.
In an ideal world, yeah, that would have been all taken care of, you know, ahead of time, but, you know, that is what it is, so. Thanks again, and Jeff Oldering too, for, you know, being able to accomplish the legal transfer of the properties too, because that was a lot of headache and extra time for Dave and Greg and Jeff too, so. Anything else for old business? You know, as far as this out parking lot, you know, I don't use it a whole lot, so I don't have a lot of input, but, you know, it looks real nice and you know, we still gotta replace some trees and stuff and get some landscaping in there, and you know, if we have to reseed, that's fine, but at least there's parking in that lot now, you know, in that area. As before, there was really nothing there besides sharing you know, the King Milling lot there, so thanks for all parties concerned to finally get her done, okay? New business, Laura Trail, update on that.
Where would you like me to put this, so everybody can see it?
Come right in the front, maybe an angle so I can get it on the camera too.
Can everybody see it if I put it like that?
Yeah.
Sorry, we talked about the Phase 1A trail extension on the G Drive. By the way, thank you for making this special meeting. Our goal is to really get this done this fall, and by letting us do it now, we can start getting bids after this meeting, hopefully. But G Drive, we have the trail still coming down, same exact. Everything's going to be in the right of way. The trail itself, the question Dave had was what portion of this is in the DDA zone here. This whole trail is 1,950 feet, 870 feet of it. This is the blue line here is the DDA district. This is 870 feet from here to Alden Ash for this drawing. This shows G Drive. This is the actual trail. The yellow part is the trail, the black is the road. The yellow part comes down here, staying in the right of way. And then here is Michigan Wire. It goes past Michigan Wire. It's here. It has to make that jog around the pole. And then here's the bank that comes out to M21. So Dave from Williamsburg couldn't be here. So basically, just to go back over again, Alden Ash Road from G Drive to Main Street connects the existing trails, G Drive to Alden Ash, provides connection to New Bowl Township Park, constructed primarily an existing road right away. It's 10 foot wide. The length of the trail is 1950. The DDA portion is 870 feet, and the current estimate is $270,000. I'm not supposed to really talk much about how much it's actually going to cost, but we really think that it's going to be quite a bit less than that. We're going to be around the 200, 220, and I think with the contribution from the DDA, we'll be there and we can start getting bids and get this built this fall. Questions?
What type of material, is it asphalt?
Asphalt.
Sidewalk?
It's all paved. The paved trail that comes, it's gonna be basically the same thing that comes from the high school, goes down G Drive. And we're basically taking that extension. Our plan is to get, because the inside the township park is gonna be paved trail too. So that'll be an extension of this, and then our phase 2 would be going down Bowes Road to connect to the other park.
Is it paved by the bank or is that part sidewalk right there?
This is paved.
Okay.
Well, the bank has sidewalk.
So is
So
it,
you're gonna take some of the bank?
We may have to double it. I think what they did at G Drive is they just widened the existing concrete.
Closer to the road or closer into the property?
It has to be in the right way. It'll be closer to the road.
Is your cost estimate for the 870 feet, or is it for the entire amount?
But at the last meeting, we needed to tell the DDA how much of the portion was in the DDA. So coming back, we're thinking that about $100,000 of the cost is in the DDA district.
Like Dean asked last time, who's in charge of maintenance of that
The trail.
trail?
Right now, we split it. The township, the Virgins Township, and the city, we pay so much a year. I think it's $2,000 a year.
Jim, I'd like to address from the podium as a constituent of the board.
I'm going to stay up here.
I'll pass these out for you all, and I'd like to read from it and then into the minutes. I represent the Lowell City property owners, DDA Properties LLC and West Main LLC, as well as the Lowell businesses, Michigan Wiretech LLC, and D&D Trucking Acquisition LLC, all of which reside in the Lowell DDA district. Our properties consist mainly of heavy industrial zone classification, but include residential classification. Our businesses are heavy industrial in nature. As such, our businesses have contributed significantly to the tax revenues of the city of Lowell in general and the DDA in particular, and operationally have supported significantly many of the other businesses through both customer and vendor relationships. Other than King Milling, I suspect most do not have an understanding of the business issues and considerations involved with operating a heavy industrial business, just as I do not pretend to understand the issues and considerations with operating a retail business. Laura has proposed the construction of a trail on the west boundary of our properties. In the design planning process, we were not consulted as to what potential impact this could have on our businesses, and indeed we learned about it in a DDA public meeting after the design was complete. After voicing opposition to the project, I was invited to a meeting with Laura, Lowell Township, and planning and design personnel. Although the meeting was congenial, I was politely told that my permission is not required for the project to proceed, and the request was made for us to provide an easement onto our properties around a power pole. Over the years, our businesses have significantly supported essentially all the programs and causes that have been solicited for support. 4-H, FFA, Lowell High School football, baseball, tennis and wrestling, prom, Little League, Boy Scouts of America, Rotary, and others. When the Creekside Kingdom was built, we donated our trucks and drivers to go to Arkansas to fetch the materials. I personally worked alongside Jim Reagan, Bob Fowler, and many others to construct it on that weekend. When the sewer was in the process of being extended to the west end to support the growth there, and other property owners would not cooperate, we allowed the easement to be completely on our property without remuneration. When Lowell Light and Power Bowes Road substation was being planned, some property owners did not want to allow power poles on their property. We were asked for and granted an easement for that project to proceed without remuneration. I think we've been good corporate citizens. Whereas the prospect of foot traffic is beneficial to retail businesses, it is detrimental to industrial businesses. The unintended consequences of this project include, at a minimum, higher insurance risks and rates. The mere prospect of this project has already cost us a potentially lucrative piece of business. Although Laura has indicated they would provide the maintenance, I just don't have the confidence that they will satisfy the city of Lowell ordinances, and that responsibility will fall back on me. At the meeting with the project principals, it was explained to me that the project of connecting the trails to the new Lowell Township Park has been in the works for a long time. They just wanted to get it done, completed in this construction season. When I offered that other routes would provide a better solution, I was told essentially that it just couldn't be done. Again, I was politely told that my permission was not required to proceed. I do not oppose the goal of connecting the trails to the Lowell Township Park. I vehemently oppose the project as proposed. I'm disappointed in the city of Lowell and Lowell Township that the lack of understanding of different types of businesses did not result in consideration or consultation as to the detrimental nature of this project to longtime businesses. If there's any way that this project can be reconsidered, I request that it be. I do not think that just because we can do it without your permission and we have to get it done in this construction season should be appropriate, acceptable reasons to put forever impositions and negative business consequences on a taxpayer.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
I mean, obviously, I have a retail store and so more traffic. That part I understand. I don't understand how it would be detrimental to an industrial business to have people.
Civilian stuff around, big stuff moving around. When the insurance company comes through, they put a high risk on it, and your rates are according.
How about the other route that you proposed across the street?
I'm sorry?
The other route you proposed, you mentioned in your, when I offered that the other route would provide a better solution.
We talked about other things, about coming down along Creekside Kingdom. We didn't spend a lot of time talking about it. It was more my opportunity to voice my opposition. It was not in the planning process. I just threw out that that's at least one thing. Drop it down by Tractor Supply or something else. Consider something else. It's my opinion that though at that point it was pretty much a done deal. The design was done and it is what it is now.
We discussed what Dean talked about. We met with Dean and we really tried to work it out because we didn't want any opposition to do this. That was the main reason to meet with Dean. We can't cross up here because of the slope of the hill. MDOT will not let us cross that road. We had to stay on this side of the road. And the second reason why we put this trail is we're trying to do this trail because it's not a lot of money to do a section of trail, but to get from here to here was the cheapest way to do that. We wanted to stay in it that way, and I didn't come across it. Hopefully I didn't come across as a tough luck. We're going to build it whether you like it or not. Because that's
I hope I didn't present it that way, but as Jerry, okay, well, I'm sorry, but as Jerry pointed out 3 times in the meeting, we don't need your permission to do this.
Dave Austin said it, Jerry did.
Both.
Okay. Okay, but our main reason to meet with you was to get you on our team, not to shove it down your throat.
No, I appreciate that, but it is a little late in the process.
So we're driven so hard to get this trail done, in my opinion, from the board's opinion, is because it's been 4 to 5 years now. We have this gorgeous trail that comes from the high school and connects to the middle school, but then it stops. It doesn't go anywhere. Nothing has happened with our trail for 5 years. We have the opportunity to take this extension from this trail and extend it to the township park this year. Our angle is to connect this and then as soon as we get this going, we're going to be working on our second phase to connect out of the park. We will have paved trails where our kids and older people can walk safely on paved trails. They can ride their bikes. They can come from the schools. They can come down to this park. They can go to Myers. It's a great section. It makes sense to come down Alden Nash.
What about on the west side of Alden?
We got to cross somewhere. That's the problem.
They can't because of the slope of the hill.
That's where he said MDOT wouldn't let him go across there because of the hill.
We tried that. We already researched that, and we did try that.
So what if you just go down G Drive to where it cuts into the back of the woods anyways? Don't you have like a paved area or
Are you talking about my Tractor Supply?
yeah.
Can't answer that. It's a little far away though.
It is far away, but it's pre-existing. If you wouldn't go through industrial.
But it
It goes
doesn't
to
connect with the
sidewalks,
park.
they're already there.
The
The
goal,
point is
the
to
goal
connect
is
with
to
parks.
connect, we want a connection. We want a connection from parks, we want a connection from the schools, and we want it to all flow down to the parks. So that eventually, these 3 parks will be connected, and then within 2 years, we're gonna cross the river now, and the other parks, we'll have 4 parks connected within a short distance of the trail.
Have you put any pencil on how that would impact the economic development of our area?
As far as
Bringing
Dean's
people
property?
in and increasing the values and so on. So obviously it's going to affect Dean.
I guess the only thing that we were thinking about was the improvement of our community. That, I mean, we weren't really thinking about, is it gonna bring more business to Cliff, or is it gonna bring more business to the salons? We were
That's
thinking
our
about,
charge.
pardon me?
That's why we're here. That's why this board was formed, for that purpose. So that's how we really should be divvying out our money, based on that.
Well, I would have to come back to you on that. I mean, I can't tell you how that would impact your business. Would it help your business? Eventually, in our master plan, to answer back to Dr. Regan's question, is in the master plan, where that trail comes down by Tractor Supply, there is a connection in our master plan to make that circle, to come back around. But that's not part of this phase 1 or phase 2. So eventually, in our trail system, we can connect all of those, but it's going to take time.
Mark? Going down Bose, you're just going to the Stony?
Stony Lakeside Park. We haven't even designed it yet, but that's what we're proposing, yes.
Okay. What I'm thinking is, I'm thinking even further down the line, I'm hoping that the fairgrounds will be moving because they got some state money, and turning the existing fairgrounds into a campground. And that's what I'm looking at, is a whole trail, campground, wonderful Lowell, 2 rivers, lots of parks.
The trail
Picture.
on the Laura Trail for the rail trail has that trail coming under the bridge, going through the fairgrounds, crossing the Flat River. That's already in, that's what they're trying to work on right now, the rail trail, from the connection from Belding to Ionia. That'll be part of that phase.
And you guys will be pumping into that, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So in the master plan, which is really cool, once it's all done, then we'll have paved trails, is what we're interested in. Paved trails that you can actually walk on, not something that's next to the highway.
Right.
So we would have a great trail system, and Ada is now interested in connecting somehow from their park to ours after the bridge crossing.
I guess I get back to my earlier question. Could you tip that tab so it's like that? Right now you can go down G Drive, you can take a east on G Drive and go down that trail that they have that goes down behind Tractor Supply. It's already pre-existing, and we could avoid all of this. Why isn't that part of this just an additional?
Where's Tractor Supply on the map?
It's not on this map.
Oh.
It's just to the right, it's further west.
But the whole point is to connect it to the new park that's gonna have the footbridge over to the other park.
Well, they can go down through there and make a little U-ey. You know, it's a little loop to loop, so, you know.
So then they're gonna go all on sidewalks or the
bypassing
road?
Yeah, it's all sidewalk there, it's already pre-existing. And then it would kind of bypass the industrial part. And I can see Dean's point.
I would like to have Dave here with me, and obviously he's out of town, to answer that question. I can't actually tell you why we didn't go that way. All I know is we were trying to get from the parks, a straight shot from the schools to get down to this park. And it connects you to Myers as well.
And I'm suggesting you can take a little side trail and go through some woods instead of along a busy Alden Nash route. Eventually you're gonna go across 21 anyways.
How would we get from there down to here?
It's all sidewalks, it's all there.
But it won't be a trail. Has to be
Well,
10 foot
you
wide.
don't call it a trail, I call it a trail because it's a sidewalk and we pay a lot of money for already something that's already kind of there.
But they won't let us build. It has to be 10 foot wide. That's
To be designated a trail, it has to be 10 foot wide,
Correct.
and sidewalks are
5 foot.
5.
Okay, any other questions for Mark? Okay. Any questions for Mark? He's here, Laura Trail. Moving on to new business, Chamber of Commerce building request.
Hello. We would like to paint the building, Chamber of Commerce building. Mostly it's the city building. It's been quite a few years since that's happened, probably 13, and it's time to get it freshened up and to look good. If we're going to be the walking center for the city of Lowell, we need to look good. The nice thing that's happened is Impact Church Love Week happens next week, and they have a crew that's going to come and paint it. So what I was asking for today was $12 to $1,500 to cover paint costs and supplies and that sort of thing that they would need to paint the building.
Who's painting
Impact Church
it? Oh, okay.
Love Week. They're going to be doing several projects. They're going to be cleaning up the showboat. They're going to be reading our new Riverwalk Park extension area, which is badly needed. So it's going to be kind of a all-around week for volunteers.
And also they're going to be doing work at the Lowell Airport too.
At the Lowell Airport. So we were just hoping that maybe we could get some money to pay for the paint.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I move to grant $1,200 to $1,500.
I would
for
say
paint.
maximum 15. I mean,
Up to.
yeah,
Up to 15.
Yeah, I
Two.
don't think we'll need it, but if we do.
If we're getting free labor.
And there really is a good crew leader on. I mean, I have a lot of confidence in them. They've done a lot of pre-work, or I should say, they've asked us to do a lot of pre-work, and the DPW has graciously done that. So, so we're on the right track.
Does the chamber have any maintenance budget?
Well, the interesting part of it, Brian, is the chamber mostly is vinyl, so it's not really the chamber that's going to get most of the paint. It's going to be the city's building that's going to get most of the paint. Yeah.
Does the city have any maintenance?
Not really.
Okay, there's a motion by Cliff, seconded by Mike Springer. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, just as long as it's not Barney Pink.
That was scary.
It might be. I just wanted to say one other thing, too. I just want to give a big shout out to the DPW. Riverwalk, we just had Riverwalk Festival, and we do a lot of work trying to get ready for it and try to make Lowell look great for visitors that are coming in, and they really came to the plate and did a lot of extra things for us, so I just like to thank them for that.
Okay, anything else in business? Moving on to reports and member comments.
I'm kind of confused about the trail. I mean, are we just
Well, we didn't, we didn't, somebody wants to make a motion to,
Well, I'm just wondering, do we want them to come back with an alternate proposal, taking it through the little loop-de-loop, or are we just leaving it, or what are we doing?
if anybody wants to make a motion what they were asking for 100 grand or,
35,000.
pardon?
We were asking for 35,000. I don't think that trail is possible to go down there in 21.
Okay. Yeah, well, we can go back to that, Cliff. If somebody wants to make a motion, I don't need to rush
Do you
right
want
over
them
it.
to come back too, like with how it's gonna affect
Well,
businesses?
And I think that's important to have Dave Austin involved with this.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I was just
We
wondering.
want to have it like it's just totally dropped, we need more discussion.
Right. If that's what we're doing, then I guess that's
That's what,
fine. I just didn't understand where we were. It just was kind of like, here, this,
I
and
think
then,
we need more information.
okay.
Okay. Okay, anything else, Cliff?
Could we request that you give us a analysis or a, I don't know what the right word would be, an estimate to run the trail the way that you're suggesting down G and behind Tractor Supply? Could you ask Dave if that's possible?
The rail trail, that's part of their route. But my point is that I don't want to talk down on that trail, but what they're calling a trail is actually on the streets. There's signs that you ride by on your bike and says you're on a trail. And our point is that for our community, we're working on paved 10-foot wide trails. I understand what you're saying, Dr. Gideon, about being a 5-foot sidewalk. We have to get a 10-foot trail through that area.
Okay, I didn't understand.
And
Yeah, I agree
not to
with that.
confuse you, but I've been on board with both of those organizations on the route to take. And I don't know if you've seen that, but I could definitely show you that. But it comes through Lowell, and when you get into Lowell, that bike trail is on the roads. It's not on a trail.
Wasn't somebody earlier saying that you're not supposed to ride bicycles
It's on sidewalks.
on the sidewalks? I mean, when we were eating lunch, I thought I thought I overheard that.
Brian.
We've spent hours working on this trail route. It isn't something we just come up with.
Right.
We've researched, especially for the rail trail.
But my question was, is it okay to ride bicycles on the existing sidewalk?
No.
Well, then how could we possibly route a bicycle trail to something that they can't ride bicycles on?
Exactly.
Am I missing something?
It has to be routed onto the road,
Okay.
because they're illegal on the road.
They're legal on the road, but we're trying to get kids. I mean, I see the guys in the
To
little
the park.
magic suits driving by at 40 miles an hour every day, and God bless them. But I wouldn't want my grandson on M21 on his bike.
And trying to go from the high school to a park.
Right.
Where you gotta come 3 blocks back to go 3 blocks back up.
So, do we make that wider, or do we?
I think we don't dictate where the trail goes. We just make the decision whether we want to support it with cash or not. It's not a DDA project.
It's in the DDA area.
It's in our district, but we don't make all the decisions in our district. We just have to decide whether we want to support it or not.
So it's hard to support.
We can suggest that they reroute it, and if they don't, and we don't like that, we don't give them any money. But if we want to give them the money, and they decide where they want to, ultimately decide where they're going to put it.
It's hard to support financially when there's opposition. If you could work out that opposition.
We tried. We did try.
We
We did.
I had my day in court.
Yeah. It isn't, we tried. I tried very hard. So
And if anybody wants to make a motion now, they can, but if they support it. Or we can maybe have Dave come back and make
That's what I was
a
suggesting.
presentation next time.
Right, for the next meeting.
Okay. Anything else from April? Anything you wanted to bring up?
No.
Right? Ready?
When's the next meeting supposed to be?
August,
August
August 4th,
Is it the first Thursday, or is it the second?
August 2nd is election day, that's on a Tuesday, so,
So it's the first Thursday?
and the first council meeting.
so tentatively next meeting is August 4th. Check your calendar. Anything else? Need a motion to adjourn? Ryan, is there a second?
Second.
Cliff, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?